so I'm clear, actually, there is no mechanical on the master recording, right? It's only mechanical on the songwriting portion of it, correct?
Exactly.
Yes.
Traditionally, what would happen is that the mechanical royalty would be paid by labels, because if labels are selling CDs or vinyl, they're getting, let's say, $20 for the vinyl. They would then have to pay the mechanical royalty to the songwriters and publishers from the labels. That still happens today. If you go out and you buy a CD, not as many people buy CDs anymore, but that still happens today if you go to a record shop and buy vinyl or a CD.
And if you're on a label.
Or if you're... Well, the labels would have to pay it in that case. Yeah. But the label won't pay you as your songwriter, your mechanicals, right? That's where, if you're a songwriter, and by the way, when I say songwriter, that doesn't just mean someone who only writes top lines and lyrics. A songwriter could be an artist who has published, who helps write their songs. It could be a producer who maybe isn't a vocalist or isn't an artist, but is contributing musical material to songs. Or it could be a pure songwriter who shows up at the studio and maybe comes up with top line melody ideas or lyrics. All of those different types of roles are songwriters.
What's a top line?
A top line would be like a melody. So it depends, often in pop, you might have some songwriters and some of them are signed to us. I work at Cobalt and Cosign. We have certain writers on our roster who mainly, they show up to the studio and they help contribute melody and lyrics. They might not be beat makers, they might not be artists, but they're still part of the equation when it comes to publishing and songwriting rights. Anyone with a share of a song needs to be collecting their songwriting royalties in order to be making all of the income that should be theirs through their music career. So to your question about labels, that's a separate piece of the pie. Labels are signing artists and they're paying master royalties to those artists. Maybe they'll pay some points to producers, but they're not collecting songwriting royalties. And that's where music publishers come into the equation.
And which you just said, this is here enters Cobalt and Cosign.